Hey guys, welcome to another Friday Night Watch Chat. I am your host, Bobby Legs. I actually clicked go live a few minutes ago and I started talking and I thought I was live. I'm gonna get the hang of this one day. I don't know, lately it's been a little difficult for me with technical. I'm trying to have this. I had this whole setup here, right? And I want to try to make the show more interactive in a way. So we're gonna get through the bugs. We're gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Don't worry. Anyway, Bobby Legs and Friends. I figured I'd give a new title to the Friday Night Chat. Just showcasing it. See if you guys what you guys think. Let me know if you're good with that title. I know it was such a level of imagination that I used to come up with that title. I know I'm just, so artistic, so creative. But I figured that's a good name. We're gonna have me do solo for the first 10, 15 minutes, and then I'll bring in some of you guys into the chat today. I had sent out some links to some people so we can kick off a discussion. And after I do my thing for the first segment, we'll talk about our favorite watches or our most underrated watches in our collection. And I have one in particular, and I know some of the guys that are coming in to the chat later on have theirs. And then at that point, you guys on the chat, please let us know what your most underrated watch in your collection is or what you feel is underrated. Save it for later. Let's just, get the show started. So, uh, I'm not gonna do a wristwatch check right now. I'm gonna show you guys. I got the extra camera here, what I picked up this week, and if you guys follow me on my channel, you know what that is. If you don't, well, you'll see it in a few minutes. But let me say hello to you guys first, and then we'll get going. Hey, Bill K, what's up? How you doing? Good to see you. Amin, how are you, my friend? What is going on? The most underrated is my Tag Heuer 2000 exclusive. Very nice, BDev. Very nice. Peter C is here. Hey, Keith, what's going on, man? How are you? Uh, you guys are fire. I know. I put it on the title, so you guys are already firing away. Underrated is a John Mayer G-Shock, right? Uh, Underachieving watch collector saying all his watches are underachieving. Okay, I see what you did there. Hey, Amin, see you soon. How you doing? Ty Mill is here. Um, let's go. Hey, Rick, how you doing as well? Wilson, what's going on, sir? Jay is here. How are you? Scott's saying the most underrated watch happens to be my white dial ceramic Daytona that I just received from the AD a few hours ago. Well, congratulations, my friend. That is a beauty. Um, Joey B, what is up? How are you, man? Good to see you. Hey, Thomas. Thomas came into the show last week, and that was awesome. Thank you, Thomas. Um, BJ is here. BJ also came on, yes, last week. Good to see you, BJ. Scrolling down. Hey, Bobby Watch Medicine is here. Sorry, Amin. Like I said, just I thought I was live. I thought I was live for the first few minutes there. Justin's here. Justin's lost in the clouds. Div, what's up? Wow, everyone's in a live stream chat on a Friday night. Man, we boring folks. Oh, yeah, yeah. Look, I really appreciate you guys being here on a Friday night. Usually Friday night, Saturday night's nice time to go out with the family or friends to dinner or the bar. But I appreciate you guys spending your time here with me. I feel very, very honored. I just texted Rod to wake up. Oh man. I'm gonna be run. It's gonna be a better. It's gonna be smoother and better operation the more and more I do this. I've been doing this for like 2 years, right? And I still been having some problems lately the last couple of weeks, but we'll get through it. We'll get through it. Hey, Rasan's here. Hey, Rasan, how are you? Tennessee Mike, good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Sam is here. Watch buddies, and we're gonna get into that. Watch bros, and we're gonna get into that soon. for sure. Um, the title would make a lot more sense if we were friends. All right, okay. Uh, Pale Horse is here. Hey, Pale Horse, what's up? William is here. Valparaiso, Indiana. Very nice, William. Hey, Wayben. Wayben's here. How you doing? Um, Young Excellency is good to see you, my friend. Um, Kevin is here. Hey, Kevin. Good to have you here tonight. Anish is here. What is up? Colin is here. He's wearing his SBGM 221 Grand Seiko. Dan is laughing his ass off. Hey, and all in our movements. How are you? What's going on? Good to see you. Justin's here, of course, and Neff. Neff is here. Oh, Jim T. Let me get Jim T in there. Wearing a Yachtmaster on the wrist. Very, very nice. Okay, so as I mentioned, I got something in this week, and I will showcase that to you now. Let's put it in there. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Let's make that screen a little bit bigger. Let's switch it up here for you guys. There we go. And that is the Sea of Clouds, Grand Seiko. Let me try to work the light here. Nope, nope, nope. Let's get a different kind of light. Let's get it brighter. Yeah, here we go. That's a little bit better. Um, awesome, awesome. Look at that dial. Um, doing the second camera via stream, the bandwidth, you're not going to get the like the HD kind of look here. You'll see that more in the video, but this is such a great looking watch in person, and I was so impressed with the polishing of this watch. Now, the Zaratsu polishing is insanely beautiful. Um, but that dial is great. I was driving yesterday to meet up with some coworkers for dinner. I work pretty much remotely nowadays, but every like 6 months we'll meet up, and I'm driving, and I couldn't. The sun was hitting the watch in such a way that it just made the dial pop. I took a couple pictures, and it was just unbelievable. It was unbelievable how beautiful this watch is. And the polishing is amazing. The hands, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful watch. And look, like I was, you know, I- I'm not, I'm not really knowledgeable about Grand Seiko. And about a year or so ago, like I never had any desire until about a year ago to pick up a Grand Seiko, and then it would go in waves. I thought I need to get one, and then I'm like, okay, I can wait. I don't need to get one right now. And then I got a hankering for one, and then that went away. And then at some point a few months ago, I was thinking, I would love to add like a high accuracy quartz watch to my collection, a really nice one, right? And and I was like, I can go Grand Seiko, of course, but I wanted to do something different. And I knew that Citizen had some really high-end, um, high accuracy uh, watches, Eco Drive quartz watches, and I wanted to pick one up just to be a little different. And so I did pick up what is affectionately now known as the Chicken, right? And this watch right here. And we call it the chicken because of the eagle right above the 6 o'clock position. And this watch, for the price, is amazing, and it's titanium, where the um, Sea of Clouds is stainless steel, right? Okay, this watch is so much lighter. The Citizen is so much lighter than this watch. Um, but the dial is beautiful. It has that washi paper here, this Japanese paper, high polished titanium. It's amazing what they were able to do with the titanium here. The polishing, the Zaratsu polishing, amazing, just amazing. There's loom on the hands where there's no loom here, and that's okay. I actually prefer no loom on this watch. Um, but this watch, great watch, right? And so like I thought to myself, okay, I could just hang with the Citizen, right? I mean, you know, most people in the States anyway think of Citizen as like, more of a sports watch, dive watch, more of an affordable kind of watch. And this watch will MSRP for around $3,000. You can get it for a little bit lower if you go like to Sakura, if they ever have it in stock. I I put an order for this one in Sakura, and then they refunded my money after a month because I just don't know if they're gonna. I don't think they thought they were gonna get it in stock anytime soon. So I was happy with this, and then, well, this came out, and this dial just really was just amazing, and that's what really did it for me. That was the deal breaker, right? That's what made this a little bit more expendable. If I can pick one of this one up, the Sea of Clouds, and it being limited, right? It was going to be hard to get, and then there's no Grand Seiko 80 near me. The nearest one is probably Manhattan, right? And so I just didn't think it was ever going to happen until a friend of mine said, "Hey, listen, my AD has one. If you're interested." And sure enough, you know, I I reached out to him. This watch looks great. It's awesome. So this one's going to be tough to go. I don't need two high end, high accuracy quartz watches in my collection. So and if money was no issue, like if it wasn't a concern, if I was independently wealthy, I mean, I'd keep both of them, right? Because they're both very cool, and there are some differences, materials for sure are different, the titanium and the stainless steel. I would keep both of them, but I'm trying to make this purchase as budget neutral as possible. So this is going up for sale. This is I'm putting this up. I already have it up on Watch You Seek for around 2,300, right? And that includes shipping. So, if anybody's interested, give me a shout. Um, let me um, let me set up the scene here, and I'll catch up with the chat. See what you guys think. What should I do? Which one should I keep? I think I know what most of you are going to say. Um, but yeah, it's not an easy decision. I wish I could keep them both, for sure. But it just doesn't make sense for me. And I'm trying to keep this, as budget neutral as possible. A term that I picked up from my friend Amin Reviews here, who uses that term. Uh, we need a comparison video, man. Yeah, I mean, look, if you want a really great comparison between a similar Citizen and a similar high accuracy Grand Seiko, just go to Almond's channel. He did one a couple weeks ago, and it is awesome and awesome. I'll probably make a comparison video of these two, and I'm gonna use Almond's video as my main source of information. Um, but yeah, John here saying the Citizen watch rocks. The Citizen is the best at titanium. They certainly do titanium very, very well. Hey, Nilo, what's going on? Thank you for joining us. Colin says, most times when I say for the price, they end up selling it eventually. Yeah. All right. Okay. Wade Ben is saying is I have a Chronomaster and I want a Grand Seiko course. There's room for both. Yeah, I mean, look, like I said, if money wasn't a concern, that, would be, I'd keep both of them. But, um, you know, I, uh, I want to make this budget neutral. That's all I'm saying. So, let's see here. I would love to add a titanium watch to my collection. Keith, this is a great one. This is a great one to add for sure. The Citizen does look good. High accuracy Japanese quartz sub collection. That way they don't count. Yeah, I mean that's a good idea. Maybe I just keep both of them, and then have a high accuracy uh, sub collection here. Two Grand Seiko boutiques in Manhattan, count them, plus ADs. Yeah. Um, just not me. In Western Jersey, like the nearest one is like Manhattan would probably be the easiest one for me to get to, about an hour away. Um, I keep both, John is saying. I have multiple from each company. Rasan saying, yeah, I like the Citizen, but having that and the GS is redundant, and I think it is a little bit, but yeah, I mean they're both great watches, right? So, um, but thanks for the input, guys. Keep the Grand Seiko budget neutral. Yep, budget neutral. Budget neutral for sure. Okay, so let's bring in some of the guys here to the chat. Hey Rick, how are you? What's going on? And Dan, how you guys doing? Thanks for joining me tonight.
Hey guys,
Um, and I think we're gonna have Rasan come in as well. Rasan, what is up? And Wolfie. So we got a good start today, you know. And so guys, before we get into like the topic, right, that that I want to talk about tonight, what do you guys think I should do? Would you
keep
keep both? Would you go with the Grand Seiko? Would you go with the Citizen? What would you do? Dan, why don't you lead off?
keep both.
Okay, fair enough. What do you think? What say you, Rick?
Grand Seiko.
Grand Seiko? Okay, all right. One vote for Grand Seiko, one vote for both. Rasan, what are your
I
thoughts?
would I would sell the Citizen, and I like the Citizen,
Yeah,
but those watches, even though with Grand Seiko quality being what it is, still look wise, case look wise, they're very similar.
yeah,
So I would just sorry Citizen, you got to go. Love you,
yeah.
but it's a
And the
Grand Seiko
Citizen,
here now. Sorry.
yeah, and the Grand Seiko's limited, you know, and the Citizen's not. So like, you know, I could theoretically always get the Citizen, right? It's just
Mhm.
you know, not so sure about the Grand Seiko. Wolfie, you're the last on the list. What do you think? Keep both?
Um, Normally I would say keep both, but the chicken is, it's a chicken, so I say sell the chicken.
Sell the chicken? Okay, you got it. Uh, awesome.
I like it though.
Yeah, yeah, I like them
That's
both
nice.
too. Rick needs to shave his head to keep up with the
Yeah,
feet.
I'm getting close.
This isn't by choice, by the way. I didn't.
Yeah, neither's mine. Neither's mine. Um, is it really limited though? Yeah, that's also the question, right? I mean, like 2000, you know, is that really limited? What do you got there, Wolfie?
I got my new big pilot
Oh, yeah.
cup from Dan.
Oh,
Nice.
very nice. So actually, you know, before we get into the topic, I keep on pushing it back. But Wolfie, you picked up something new today, right? You wanna show us what you
Hmm.
got? Do you have it
Something
handy?
big,
Give
something
you a little
really
solo.
big.
It's Rick's favorite.
Wow!
Well, oh yeah,
Congratulations, man. Full prof. That's titanium, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a heavy
yeah.
hitter.
Good thing it's titanium, though, right? Um, because if that was stainless steel, like that's over 200 grams, right? Stainless steel, like it's a big boy, isn't it?
I
Weight wise, anyway.
I don't think I ever tried the steel on, so, but probably
Hmm.
I wouldn't mind, but it's
Yeah,
super comfortable in titanium, that's for sure.
yeah. Well, congratulations. It's an awesome watch, very unique looking. And if you can pull it off with that size, you know, God bless you. Um,
It's actually, you would be surprised. It's Tim
it's very
Moss was
wearable.
right. It's very variable because
Yeah,
it just goes right down.
Yeah,
yep,
Katie
Yeah.
tried it on, and I mean, of course, it looks ridiculous because of the size of it, but
yeah,
she can put it on comfortably.
yep. Lug to lug is very short.
Yeah,
yeah. Um, Bobby saying Wolfie's Pro Prof would eat Bobby Legs' chicken watch if it was a National Geographic Explorer. Of course, yeah, absolutely. The chicken would have no chance. Um, Sino saying stainless pull prof is a big boy, but he's got the titanium, so at least that helps out with the weight a little bit.
Yeah.
Uh, Colin is saying congrats to Wolfie. Yeah, so
It's a
definitely a
nice
big
watch.
congratulations for our friend Wolfgang here. Big Wrist is here. Hey, Big Wrist, good to see you. Glad you can make it tonight. Um, okay, so now Rick. messaged me a couple days ago and was like, I think I have a good idea for a stream topic, and he mentioned, uh, he showed me a couple pictures of a watch that he had, and it's like, it would be great to talk about, like, our most underrated watch, or what we feel is our most underrated watch in the collection. And so, since this was your idea, Rick, I'm going to pull up a couple of photos.
Sure.
If they come up, hold on, just bear with me 1 second. I want to make sure I get the picture up before I hand it over to you. Um, and so your most underrated watch in your collection, as you feel it, is the Bulgari Octo Roma World Time. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
tell us a
My
little
whole
bit about
thought,
this one.
my whole thought was, I think we all have watches that we appreciate or we like more than our friends in our collector
Hmm.
community. And I think this is one. I don't know, everybody in the chat and people we talk to regularly. I don't know that people would dislike this watch. I think it's, the reaction is, hey, that's nice. Don't hate it.
Yeah.
Nice watch. I love the watch. I mean, it wears so great, and I love the clarity of the dial and how it wears and feels, and the sort of stealthness of the DLC coating and the
Hmm.
fabric bracelet, and but it doesn't get a whole lot of love or respect. So it's probably my one watch that I like just a lot more than. I think I mentioned towards the start of the year. I think this was my favorite pickup of last year, and
Yeah.
I think people were surprised by that.
Yeah, I mean
Mm.
it's a great watch. I love this model, and the stainless steel model as soon as it came out. I believe it came out, it wasn't this year, right? It was last year. I
Last
get
year, yeah,
Yeah, I got my time frame a little hazy up there. But I've always been interested in having a world time watch. They're usually on the pricey side,
yeah.
and this one I felt was, for what you got, it was very reasonably priced, right?
Well, I think that it was a good deal at retail, and this really
Hmm.
started with Amin. Amin was for about a month. Amin was on a world time kick,
Yeah.
looking at all
Hmm.
kinds of different world time watches, and it got me looking and thinking I need a world time in my collection, and
Yeah.
we all started talking about it. And then this came out, and I bought it. And I paid retail for this. Since then, we've seen in a couple of different resale groups, we've seen these at some really good prices. Very,
Right.
very this and the blue dial, the steel,
Yeah.
at some very good prices, which are really tempting, I think.
Y- Yeah, I think originally I really was attracted to the blue dial stainless steel version of the watch, but more and more uh, time has gone by, and I've seen both of them. I really prefer yours here over the 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 blue dial one. I mean, they're both great,
Mhm.
but this is to me like a great travel watch to actually travel with, right?
Mhm.
Low key, nobody's, I mean, it's under the radar, I feel, right?
Yeah.
Especially
Yep,
with that DLC
not gonna
coating.
attract anybody, no
Yeah,
no personal safety concerns
right.
wearing it. No, it's not
Yeah,
like you're gonna wear a paddock with
Mhm.
closing A and
yeah,
get targeted. I just think it's a stealthy watch.
yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about the World Timer?
I like it. It reminds me a little bit of the. It's just much more well executed than the IWC Time Zoner,
Mm,
which kind of looks like a world map exploded, just cities all over the place and stuff.
yeah,
This one is much, much better executed. This is what IWC should have done with the Time
yeah.
Zoner. It's a
Well,
it's a
speaking
beautiful watch.
speaking of time zoner, Wolfie, you have a time zoner, and I know you have a preference towards IWC in general. Would you, if you didn't have the time zoner, would you consider something like this?
Mm, I'm not a huge fan. I like it more and more
Yeah,
the more I see pictures.
yeah,
It's too busy for me.
yeah. Gotcha.
But it's
Mhm.
it's I tried to see them in the boutique a few times. Never happened. They didn't have this one or the steel one.
Right.
I probably tried
Mhm.
since it came out. So what they told me is like once they get one in, it's sold immediately.
Oh, wow,
So I
that's
think
interesting.
it's a
Yeah.
big success. Yeah.
Oh.
Very nice. Dan, thoughts?
I like this one.
Yeah.
This is not for me, but
Hmm.
I like that Rick loves this watch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Um, I think it's Rick. I mean, like you have a quite exquisite collection, as we know, and for you to pick this one, I think that says a lot about what you think about this watch
Yeah.
and how you stand
Thanks.
by it for sure. Um, Dan,
Yeah.
do you have what's your underrated watch?
Underrated? I mean, how are we defining underrated? Like,
Well, I mean, like like maybe like a watch in your collection that necessarily doesn't get all like the fanfare, but you think is like well worth, or punches above its weight for what you paid for example, or you know,
um, I think I have three underrated watches.
okay, that's fine.
I have my Weiss,
Yep,
Bulgari, and my Breitling.
yeah.
Uh,
Can you put them up
Yeah.
back up again?
Uh,
Yeah,
I think
that's a
the,
great trio
the
right there, man.
the
it is.
Breitling,
I'm gonna
the
get that Breitling.
Breitling people might notice. They might recognize
Yeah,
these two. I think a lot of people probably don't recognize.
Yep.
yeah,
Even in one of my watch groups, I posted this Weiss, and someone who's has like a lot of really nice watches. He's like, I never heard of that brand.
yeah,
So
Mm,
yeah. I love that. I love when somebody says, "Oh, I never heard of that one."
yeah,
Uh, Detroit Spartan, his vote is for the Weiss. So Sino. Neff loves the Breitling.
yeah.
All those are legit, of course. I totally agree, and the Weiss for sure. Any favorites in that group, Rick?
Yeah, I mean, again, we got Bulgari one more time, and I think
Yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But you know what I think happens a lot is people think it's a jewelry brand or it's a
Hmm.
yeah.
most female-oriented brand, and you got to get over that. I a year ago I didn't know much about Weiss, but again, amongst our group, we've exchanged messages and talked about it, and I love learning about things like that. I think the dial is really clear, and that's a watch that definitely punches way above its weight and its price point. So beautiful. The Breitling probably underrated, but again, like you said, Dan, pretty well known, and everybody's going to know the brand. And
Mhm.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. Any thoughts, Wolfgang or Ra
No,
about?
I think especially the Bulgari, this one is everybody's going for the newer stuff, and this one is kind of nobody's looking at those anymore. But
Yeah, yeah,
it it looks really good. It
yeah,
might be a little thicker than the Finissimo, but probably, I mean, this one really flies under the radar of anybody except Dan. I never ran into anybody that had one.
Yeah, same, and I think all three of those are great. I've had
yeah.
my eye on the Aerospace Evo for a while.
Hmm.
That's the night mission one you have there, right? Yeah, night
Yep,
mission. That's the exact one I want.
yep.
Love that watch. All the complications that come with it. I mean, there's you name it, it's on there. And then the Bulgari was one I was just looking at. We'll say 2 weeks ago. Um, one of the limited editions, and it's of course being me, it's the one that everybody hates. The one that looks like they drew it on there and all the markers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That
I
one.
like that one. I
Me
like that
too.
one.
They have
Yeah,
two out, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna find them, man. One day I'm gonna get that one. So yeah, that's another home run. And Weiss is a brand I've heard of,
hmm,
multiple times. And I was thinking about getting one of those too, but it was, one of those watches that would be in the way of, something else that I wanted down the line.
yeah,
So it's like, it's got to back burner it for now. But
yeah.
they're in Los Angeles, they're not far. If I really want one, I'll just go get it. So
Well, not anymore, right? They moved to Nashville, I think.
they did.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's far.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's far.
Yeah,
That's far.
I'll buy
Uh,
Dan's when he sells it.
right. Never say my most underrated watch is the full-on Mari. Cheap Patek homage with terrible printing. So unloved. That's a good one there. Hey, Karan is here. Hey, Karan, how are you? I like the Octo on a rubber strap. Yeah, very much so, right? I think it looks great, Dan. Um, okay. Canadian Watch Monkey, most underrated is my Tribus. Try TRI 03 41 millimeter Swiss made COSC certified GMT with a power reserve indicator. Got it for 525 new. That's a whole lot of complications going on there for 525. That's great. Good find, man. Um, Wolfie, any thoughts on what you consider your most underrated watch in your collection?
Hmm. Well, I really like GO, and
Yeah,
kind of, they're completely overlooked by most people. That's
Yeah.
what you
yeah,
see on the secondary market. The
yeah,
prices, they're like they lose almost more than any of the other
yeah,
big group brands.
yeah.
So maybe my CQ
Mm,
not that overlooked anymore, but the other one, the gold one, the Pano Reserve
yeah,
is, you hardly ever see them. I think they're great even at retail. We talked about it a little bit today because one came up for almost half
yeah,
somewhere.
Yeah.
But even for 20K, it's like, what I mean, I think it's gorgeous dress piece, but
yeah.
I'm one of the few.
Yeah, nobody outside of anybody who's a watch in the watch collecting community
Yeah.
knows who Gio is, especially in Glasuta. In,
Glass.
I'm getting better. Nobody knows that here in the States. I mean, nobody knows, other than like, guys like us, and I agree. They're very underrated. Still think your CQ is still underrated. Not necessarily so much within the watch community, but just in general. And of course, that panel reserve is gorgeous. Um, great watches. Secondary market, yeah, they take a big hit. I'm hoping one day those 70s um, chronographs take a hit because I love that watch.
Yeah, me too.
But like
Yeah.
around 13K, it's still it's very steep for me. I need to see that like under 8, under 7, which it may not happen. You never know. You never know, but I don't think it's gonna happen. But
It'll
love
happen.
those. It'll happen. You think
It'll
so?
It'll
happen.
probably happen.
I just gotta be patient. Yeah.
That Geo annual calendar, I know Wolfie and I were both
Oh
admiring
yeah.
that. I mean, that is a killer watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Incredible way to display that, right?
hard to pull the trigger at retail, and that's
Right.
the thing.
Yeah. Everything
Karan
Geo.
also, Karan loves the CQ almost
Hmm.
as much as me. Uh, but we're we're one of the fews.
Yeah. Um, Justin, everything Geo makes is underrated.
Yeah.
Colin saying, I love the Pano Reserve. Penny, my most underrated is the all black ceramic GMT, Rolex GMT. Yeah. They should call it the C bubble instead of the CQ. Um, Wilson, Glashütte.
Glashütte.
Don't forget the umlaut in Glashütte.
Exactly.
Glashütte. Um, okay, and everybody's making fun of me saying that. Okay, great. Yeah, the annual calendar Geo is a winner. The way they display it is just so
Yeah.
cool how they do it for sure. Um, Scott's saying I think Rolex is the most underrated brand, single-handedly pushing the watch market to new heights. Um,
No.
yeah, I know what you're trying to say, Scott.
Yeah.
But I think yeah, I'm not sure they're underrated, but I know where you're trying to get. I know where you're trying to get to. Um, it's a brand that's very underrated is Rotary. I'm not really too. I mean, I've seen those
Yeah.
watches. I just don't know much about them. Um,
Are they still
yeah,
around?
I think
You know?
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, so moving on. Ra, what do you think is the most underrated watch in your collection?
I got two. Um,
Yeah,
and it's not
CM.
that they're underrated. It's just that they have such, uh, the other watches from these
Mm-hmm.
brands. I'll start
Sure.
off with the Bathyscaphe,
Yeah.
which is it's a great watch. Love it, but it's standing in the shadow of the 50 Fathoms, the
Mm-hmm.
original 50 Fathoms, and
Right.
that is an enormous shadow to get out of.
Yeah.
I like the original 50 Fathoms myself, but this one fits me so much better,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And one day I'll probably get one. I was looking at a titanium one again,
Yeah.
but I'm like, the bathyscaphs are very overlooked. ID guy just did a video on him and his renderings. I mean, Blink Pond should hire this guy, but it's just something that it's a great watch, but its bigger brother is, you
Yep.
know, hey, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you
Mm-hmm.
do that? It's like, well, it's like being Brad Pitt's uglier little brother. You know, what are you gonna do with your life, buddy? It's over for you.
Yeah.
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 And then this one, the 50th anniversary GMT,
I love
which
that watch.
yeah, I think Watch Medicine has one too. Bobby has one. Um, this is another one that suffers from the same fate. You know, so it's
Mm-hmm.
you got okay Omega. Okay, we got Speedmaster.
Mm-hmm.
You got the Bond Seamaster. Oh, the Planet Oceans all over the place. You
Yep.
know, there are just so many other versions, and the Great White version of that watch, the GMT one, gets a lot of attention too. So it's like, wow, you know, this is a terrific watch. This watch is over 20 years old, and it's my daily when I go to work. You know, I'm like, I wear nothing but this. You know, and it's going on and on and on, and doing a terrific job at it. And I'm like, wow, you know, I'm surprised more people don't have it. You know, it's and I love the offsetting colors too. It's
Yeah.
very monochromatic. It really sticks out.
Mm-hmm.
Those are two great watches. Love them both.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, and you know that Omega, they were sneaking up in price last year, right? I mean, like
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
could maybe like a year and a half ago, you could find them like around like the low twos, and they were sneaking up to like 3,000. I think they come off a little bit down from that, but
Mhm.
that's a very underrated GMT. Like you know, when I think of GMT, I don't think of like a diver's GMT. You know what I mean? So I think maybe that's why it's not it wasn't as popular. But they started it started getting up in price recently, and I've seen it back off lately. But great watch, great watch.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Um, Colin is saying I think my Zenith A384 is very underrated. Picked it up brand new for more than 50% off. Yeah, that took a beating. Wayman, actually, I think the Citizen Chronomaster is the most underrated watch in my collection. It's just a Citizen Quartz. Yeah, Wayman, I think like that's the knock on it here in the States. It's a Citizen, and there's so many more like affordable Citizens out there that get pushed in front of us. You see them on Macy's discounts, and most people here in the States, I think they don't even realize that there are high-end and very well-done Citizen watches out there. Japan, I think, a different story. They're fully aware, but for some reason, I guess they feel like they just maybe Grand Seiko just takes up too much of that space for Japanese high-end dressy
Mhm.
pieces here in the States, and they don't feel like they can compete. I don't know what the reason is, but I think they should start figuring that out. Yeah, Citizen needs to figure out its marketing tactics out in the United States for sure. Uh, Definitely rooting for them. Let me. I'll put up mine here, and let me see if I can make it bigger. There we go. And my underrated watch, and just and it's mostly because I only have like 4 or 5 watches now. But it is my first ever luxury watch that I ever bought, and it says Girard Perregaux Seahawk 2. And I wore this watch. I bought this back in 2005, not knowing anything about GP. And I really got lucky that way, in a sense, because it's got a history, right?
Yeah.
It's a legendary um, watchmaker brand. Obviously, they don't really do a great job marketing themselves, and now I feel like they're almost like typecasted as the L'Oreal brand, and they get accolades for that. But all the other models, nobody really cares about. And this is a great diver. It's got a power reserve, date complication. It is a little bit bigger than what I'm um, typically go for, but just a great watch. And I wore the hell out of it for about 10 years, and it still looks pretty darn new.
Look at the texture on the dial. I mean, I think that's great.
Yeah, yeah.
Really
It's
good looking.
nice.
What do they call it? The Clou de Paris or whatever,
It's great.
honeycomb. Yeah.
The
So,
problem with that one is it has a red tip.
yeah. So,
Ooh,
the
yeah.
almond wouldn't like it, but it's got a red tip on the seconds and on the power reserve. Hopefully, he'll give me a pass. on it, but underrated brand, underrated model. They stopped making this a few years back, and just a great watch. I gotta bring it back to the rotation a little bit more. I don't really wear it that much because I have other pieces, but yeah, just a super fun watch to have.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a good looking watch.
yeah, thank you. GP as a brand is underrated, except for the trendy integrated bracelet, of course. I like just about everything they make. Yeah, they have a model that's been discontinued for a while, the Richeville that I really like. I've been waiting for some of the pricing on them to come down. For some reason, a lot of the sellers, especially on eBay, are very stubborn with their pricing. So, hopefully they'll come down and I can add one of those one day. Sure, are very underrated. Some great watches to be had, um,
Yeah.
for sure. Um, it has kind of a Ranger hour hand. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. Definitely, yeah. It's got the little arrow there. But um, but now I can't get that out of my head now.
Yeah.
Um,
Every
thanks,
time you
man.
look at it,
Thanks.
every time you look at it,
Thanks, Neff. Uh,
the on watch
uh,
you seek for sale in about a week.
no,
I
I
can't do it.
can't.
I
I
can't do it.
can't. Like I bought it so long ago, like there's no like impact, like there's no budget neutral impact
Mhm.
on it. So, Scott's saying here Frank Muller is actually underrated, and Frank Muller is a very interesting brand to have a conversation about. I'm actually a big fan of Frank Muller, um, and I would love to pick up like a Casablanca one day. Um, but they have a they got a bad reputation, right? So. Neff, not Ranger Bobby, sorry. Shovel Hour Hand, my bad. TBG did more for GP than GP ever did for itself. Very interesting. That's an interesting point, AJ.
I think he's right.
Yeah.
Got to hand it to
Um,
him.
yep.
You know,
Neff, I agree with Frank Muller too. Great complications as well. Well, anyway, guys, thank you for participating on that segment. I'm gonna shuffle you guys out.
hmm
Uh, please don't take any offense. I'm gonna put the invite out here for the rest of the chat. If anybody wants to come in and tell us about their most underrated watch, Dan, Wolfgang, Ra, see you guys. See you
it's
guys
been a
next week.
pleasure. Thank you.
All right. So anybody else who wants to join, feel free to pop in and let me know what your most underrated watch in your collection is. And in the meantime, while I wait for people to come in, or if nobody comes in, I'll fill up the empty space with excellent chatters. Oh, Colin is gone. See you, Colin. Take care. Uh, we'll talk soon for sure. Federico loves GP too. Yeah, Federico was one of the few guys um, who have been beating the drum for GP, right? I mean, he said it multiple times that he's always thought they were very underrated. And to his credit, he carries a lot of GP, right? He's got a Laureato, I think, for sale now. Took down the price of that. He sold multiple Seahawks. Every once in a while, you'll see a Seahawk on the site. And Richeville's 1965, 1945s, some Ferrari models, some of the Evo, like, older Laureato Chronos. Um, but yeah, no, he's got a lot of stuff. And you know, I think there's gonna be a day when Perregaux will finally get its due, and they'll be known more than just the Laureato brand. They just need to get it out of their own way, right? Or just like even just market. I think they have a bigger presence in Europe for sure. Um, but um, but here in the States, they just don't spend any money on advertising. And I wish I hadn't sold my GP World Time. He misses that watch. That is a great watch. The GP World Time. A little bit on the bigger side, right? I mean, maybe 44 millimeters, but perfectly fine. BJ, off topic, but it looks like IWC finally put the Mark 20 on its website. Where, yeah, hey, listen, BJ, I saw pictures of you and Peter C at an IWC event last week. I think you guys were diddling with some IWC watches. And they're saying the Piaget is also underrated, but also very expensive. Not sure about the secondary though. I think Piaget also suffers from the same thing that Bulgari suffers from, right? I feel like Piaget is more like a jewelry kind of like watch brand, but they make great watches, thin watches. And I know I was slamming the Richard Mille Ferrari watch a couple weeks ago, but and Piaget, barely makes a watch barely thicker than that. But for some reason, I'll cut some Piaget slack over Richard Mille. I wonder why. Um, GP will get their due when they are resurrected in 2080. Yeah, and that comes from Bobby, who Bobby has a beautiful Laureato, um, beautiful watch. Underappreciated watches are the biggest bargains. That's for sure. And that's where like, some, knowledge and some research really comes in, right? Um, the Richeville for GP, the chronograph, there's a couple of different versions of it. There's like a really affordable version of it. I forget the model number, but you can get one for like 2000, 3000, and then they have one that has it's a little bit bigger. It has an in-house movement. I think the smaller ones have like an ETA. But those are you can find them in the 5 to 6 range. And I'm just waiting for those to come down a little bit. Um, Wolfgang say, okay, they fly totally under the radar too. Okay, fair enough, for sure. And his was 41 millimeter, the world timer. I have my father's 1960 GP. That's great, Neil. That's awesome. Um, Scott saying Hublot's underrated are M quality, but at 1/20th of the price. Underrated. I don't know if underrated is the right term, I would say. Uh, not well loved. I think maybe if you want to say well, is underrated and underappreciated the same thing, same definition? I don't know. I think there's a lot of hate for Hublot, and I think a lot of it is not deserved. Let's put it to you that way. So I don't think they're underrated. I think they just get a really bad rap. Sino saying that the Mark 20 has been out in Korea since June. Um, BJ, yeah, that was fun at the IWC little event that they went to. That's awesome. That's awesome. Karan saying that the world timer for um, GP is a great watch. Piaget is a good one. I like the Polo. Yeah, BJ, the Polo is very interesting, right? So like uh, it's very Nautilesque, right? It kind of reminds me of that as well. And I think Wolfie picked one up. It is a good looking watch. I've heard some things about it that maybe um, would probably deter me from getting one. I have a watchmaker friend who had told me that they're kind of delicate. And so Wolfie's got one. Maybe he's better to speak to that. But Piaget is attractive and doesn't have the negative connotation RM has. Yeah, absolutely. Agreed. They make also great women's watches. They're always my pick for the GPHG, right? Whether they win or not, and they win sometimes or not. But they make great, beautiful. Like if I was a woman, I'd get a Piaget. Yeah, for sure. Wolfgang saying that Polo retail is somewhat fairish. Okay. Um, Sam is saying I'd say my Stova Marine Original is underrated. Well, yeah, I mean that's a good point, Sam, because Stova known for more of its pilot's watches. The Marine Original is, I think, more of a deck watch, kind of like a marine watch. So you don't really necessarily expect that from them, or at least I don't. I think of pilot watches when I think of Stova. But they have 6498s, really nicely done on those watches. I love that look, that marine look on those watches. There's lots of brands do that kind of version. Um, hey, we got a blank screen here. What's up, Rob? I think your camera's not working, but I
Uh,
hear you.
I don't know what to
Let,
click
let
on.
I'm gonna remove you, and then why don't you come back in, okay?
I'll try
So,
again.
okay. So that's Rob from Mountain Standard Time. Nice YouTube channel. He does great stuff here. Karan saying the LUC Supard is the most underrated. Those are beautiful watches too. Awesome, awesome watches. Neff, you're right, Wolfgang. I've never looked at the price of a pole until now. Very fair. I wonder if they make a sub 40 millimeter version. That's a good question. Uh, P from Not So Obvious Watches. I totally agree. Hublot is underrated. They don't um, play to the hyper vocal social media crowd. Rob, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you see me?
Right. Yeah. All right. It's no image, but
Ah,
we'll hang you in, we'll keep you in there for now. So what's going on, man?
hey.
What's your most underrated watch in your
Well,
collection?
yeah, someone had to click on that link and save you. So,
Yeah. Well, thank you.
so my most underrated is the Tudor P01, and
Ooh,
I picked that up.
divisive pick.
Yeah, I think that it's underrated, and as soon as that thing goes discontinued, it's going to skyrocket.
Okay.
And I might
Okay.
have a hard time flipping it because I might keep it.
Yeah, I've had that in, and I had reviewed it, right, and the video got corrupted, um, and I didn't check the video until like after I already sent the watch back to the owner, so I was kind of screwed out of that, but that's on me. Um, yeah, it's an interesting watch, right? Not for me, and it's because the sizing. It was just really big. It felt like really heavy, very slab-sided, as I recall. But the people who love that watch really love that watch. And
Yeah.
so I think, so to your point, if it ever gets discontinued, I think there may be a time further down the road where people are just going to be like, oh, remember that watch? And then they're like, oh, we want that, I want that watch,
Yeah,
Um,
it's going to be right up there with Wolfie's watch.
which one?
His
Oh,
new one, the
his new one, the
Proflof.
low profile. Yeah. Um, Wilson's saying that his most underrated watch is the Zenith Pilot. I love the Zenith Pilot. Wilson knows that. I love that. It doesn't get a lot of fanfare, right? I mean, it directly competes with IWC Pilot, right? But it's a little less. It's a little more affordable, I mean. But great looking watch. Um, Karan is saying Piaget ladies were the best. The polo, the Piaget ladies were the best. The polo, the dancer, the Tanqueray, the Tanagra back in the day when they didn't touch steel. I probably butchered that, Karan, but Yeah, I mean, there's stuff now I love. I mean, like I said, like if I was a woman, I'd buy Piaget, and then I'd go Cat's Eye, GP. Very, very interesting watches. The female side of me would go Gerard Perregaux as well. Whatever. Um, Underachieving watch collector. My underrated watch is the Eterna Royal Kontiki GMT. Very, very nice. Yeah, I know that watch. Um, hey, Jason, greetings from Aruba. Uh, the old left-sided criticism. I know, yeah. It really was though. It really, I mean, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me with the divers, but it does bother me with the P01. Um, Wolfie, I think you're the kind of guy that would love that watch. I think you do good with that one. Um, Masan does love those Eternas. How is Aruba in November, Jason? Might be coming to see you. Jason, hopefully you can let Detroit Spartan know. Um, yeah. Well, anyway, guys, we're pushing up to the 10 o'clock hour. Thank you so much for chiming in and letting us know what your most underrated watch is. Um, I promise next week I'll start on time. I'm gonna rehearse and make sure these technical difficulties are behind me. Gonna do a little bit more camera action, show some more watches if I get any in. And oh well, we got one. All right, you snuck in there, Canadian Watch Monkey.
How you doing, brother?
What's going on, man? I was signing out, but you know what? Let's get you in. What's your most underrated watch? I think you mentioned it in the chat, but why don't you
Well,
tell us what it is?
one that's really great is the Young Hands. I don't know
Oh
if you
yeah.
see
Mm-hmm.
that,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the Meister telemeter.
Yeah.
And you can get these watches here at a real bargain. Like I picked this up for about 1,200 Canadian. And
Yeah.
that's on the if you go to the Young House website, they're going for 3,000 US.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And here's another crazy deal that I got for 150 bucks, and it's running a Swiss ETA. I don't know if you can see that or not. Probably not.
Yeah. It's hard with the.
Yeah, it's a salmon dial, and you
Yeah.
can see the movement there.
Yeah.
And another great deal.
What brand is that?
You know what? Even with my glasses on, it's hard to tell. It's something Vivifraise and Company,
Okay.
and they're still around too. Like if you look them up on the internet, I guess it's kind of like Tiffany's or something like that. They're not
Okay.
actually a watch manufacturer, but they're a jeweler that's been in this racket for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And of course, a classic that a lot of people kind of snub because it's digital is this guy right here,
Oh, the Hamilton.
the PSR.
Yeah.
And people won't even give it a chance. I tell you, once you get it on wrist, you'll understand what makes it so great. And super comfortable. The taper on the
Mm-hmm.
bracelet is unbelievable. There's no other watch that I know of that has that kind of taper.
Yeah.
Just a fantastic watch. And I think anyone that tries one on, I think will be impressed with it. But it's kind of funny because it's the LCD and LED combination. A lot of people won't give it the time of day, thinking, how can you pay almost $1,000 for something like this?
Right.
But if you think about watches, the movements aren't that expensive. Like an ETA, what if you just buy one on your own, a couple $100?
Couple hundred. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the rest is the case. So now then all of a sudden, if you put an ETA in this case here, now you're looking at a fairly high-end watch.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think also what the beef with some people with that watch is though, is that you have to press a button to see the time, right?
No, this you don't.
Oh, that you don't. Okay.
No,
So
the
which
time
one
is
am I
on. I don't
thinking
know
that?
if you can see it on the screen now. It's on all the
Okay.
time.
Okay.
But if you want it bright, then you press it.
Okay, I follow. So my bad. My bad. I must be thinking of another watch that's very similar that you had to press the.
The original one was like that, and I know
Okay.
Yema makes a digital watch that's like that.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of, the Yema.
Yeah.
Thomas Burnett is saying, I would say that my most underrated watch just are the P01 as well as maybe the Omega Baby Pro Prof, but that's vintage. Yeah, I think you get a pass with those, um, um, Thomas, for sure. I plan on having zero chicken in my life. So so what do you think? You like Citizen? You like Citizen there?
Do I?
Yeah,
Yeah, they make some. Actually, you know what? One of my first watches kind of it was a big deal for me. This was about 30 years ago, and that's when the Eco Drive first came out.
yeah.
And I picked up the WR 200, and they were using a monoblock construction, and just it was an amazing watch. Unfortunately, it went missing out of my home. Um, but it was a good thing that I wore my other watch, because my other watch that I upgraded to was a Rolex Oyster Perpetual Date Just,
Ah, okay.
two-tone.
Yeah.
But you know what though? Uh, Honestly, I think Rolex is severely overrated myself. I've owned one,
Hmm.
and they're nice for
Yeah.
sure. Um, but the cost of maintaining them
Hmm.
sometimes can be quite astronomical, and
Hmm.
this leads to why I got rid of my two-tone Date Just, is because on the Jubilee bracelet, the links are actually made of gold, which is a soft metal,
Yeah.
a lot softer than stainless. So over time, especially, I was a young guy. I think I was about at that time between the ages of 25 and 30s when I had money. I hadn't gone through divorce and stuff yet. But what happened was that the links stretched. And I went to the jeweler and he looked at it and he goes, you know what, you need a new bracelet. And he told me the price and I almost shit myself. It, it
Yeah.
was more than I had actually paid for the watch. And that was just over 6-7 years. Like, I think I picked up the watch for about, back then, I think it was about 4 grand, 3,500. And
Hmm.
then 6 years later, to go buy the bracelet in the Jubilee configuration with the gold and gold links and that, it was the same price as the watch. I'm going, what the hell? So I sold the watch and I got an Omega Seamaster, James Bond. And by the way, when I picked up that Omega Seamaster James Bond, I bought it out of, I don't know if you've got them in the US. I think you do. Costco?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember, you could actually pick up a Seamaster.
You still can find one. I mean, like it's rare now, right? I
Yeah.
mean, like now, like there's mostly every time I go to a Costco, which is not often. Like I see like Invictas, but I used to see Breitlings and Omegas like not too long ago.
Yeah, but I picked up my Omega Seamaster James
Yeah.
Bond.
Nice.
And it was before the coaxial movement. So,
Okay.
but it was a great watch, and I picked it up. It was under 2 grand, well under
Yeah.
2 grand. I think it was
Yeah.
like $1,400, $1,500.
Yeah. Amazing.
But those days are long gone. But
Yeah.
yeah, but
Wilson saying Rolex brand overrated, but the watches are wonderful. See, like I don't think Rolex is overrated or underrated. I think they're rated. I think it's exactly what you get exactly what you expect with Rolex. Like my sub is a tank. I knew it. I heard it was going to be a tank. I had a watchmaker friend who works for Rolex now say it's a tank. You never have to worry about it. I got it, and that's what happened. It's exactly what I expected it to be. So
yeah.
I don't think it's underrated. I don't think the brand is overrated or underrated. I just think like,
Actually, the sad thing is with Rolex, especially like with the entry level ones like the OPs and that, uh, the price is right. Like, but you can't get them at that price. That's the problem, and that's not really Rolex's fault, I guess.
mhm,
But I would have no problem spending 6-7 grand for a Rolex, like a new Rolex OP. I think that's a very decent price for what you get.
yeah,
But on the secondary market,
yeah,
it's not, well, it is what it is. I guess if you can charge $1,000 for the swatch moon swatch, then I guess anything goes.
Right, right. Anything. Yeah, and hopefully some of those prices, I've seen those prices on those OPs in the secondary come down. And look, I mean, like, you can get those OPs. I mean, you may have to wait. You know what I mean? So it's not like impossible. I don't think it's as hard as it was maybe 6 or 7 months ago to get the OP that you want. I mean, we're not talking Tiffany, blue dot. We're talking about your regular run-of-the-mill
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
blue, black, silver dial OP. If you have to wait, you have to wait. If they have it in a showroom, they'll get it to you. But I think, you know, the one thing I'll tell you about the OP, and that might be the most overpriced Rolex that they have, in my opinion, because when I put them on and I tried them, I thought I was gonna, why not give an OP a shot, and it felt a little cheap.
Yeah.
Not what I expected. So I actually think the OP is the most overpriced Rolex out there. But everything else is great.
What
Yeah,
What's your take on Cyclopses? The
I don't
fake.
mind them. I know people get like upset. They collects dirt or whatever. They don't bother me. They don't
You know
bother me.
what? I love them. I love
Yeah,
them. And you
yeah.
know what? It gives a little bit of interest to the crystal itself. The one of my pet peeves is when the crystal is dead flat.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that. I
Mm-hmm.
like to see a little bit of a dome. Double
I
domed is
agree.
preferred. But yeah, when it has a cyclops on there, and if it's done right, I think it adds a little bit of character to the watch myself.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, look, I went with the no date sub because that was just my preference. I just like the symmetry of it. But if I couldn't get a no date and I was offered a date, of course I would have taken a date. And the Cyclops doesn't bother me at all, for sure.
Yeah,
I know people get a little upset about it because it throws everything off for them and it gets a little bit dirty here. You have to clean it.
yeah.
But it's all good. But Canadian Watch Monkey, thanks for jumping on, man. It's past my bedtime. I'm gonna call it a
Yes.
night. And but anyway, yeah. Feel free to jump on next time as well. When I throw out the link there, it was good having you. Good meeting you in person.
Yeah,
Because
it's
I've seen
always.
you in the chat for a few months now, and it's good to meet you.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to plug? Do you have any Instagram? Do you have a
Oh,
channel?
check my YouTube channel,
Yeah,
Canadian
yeah,
Watch
that's right.
Monkey.
Yeah, I'm subscribed. That's right. I forget.
And yeah, but anyway, thanks for having me on. This was cool.
Yeah,
Never to shy away from getting on camera.
yeah, absolutely. Again, thank you so much.
All
Chat,
right,
thank you
take
so
care.
much as well. And have a good night. And I'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Take care. Good night.